Aloha. I wanted to take this video and expand off the last video and really go deep into the program of extinction and this program that it's all over the place. It's based upon every single design that you see on a mainstream basis, and ultimately what it boils down to is power. This is power. Like I said in the last video, the civil rights movement came in at that time frame, and that was gathering power, that was gathering focus, information. It was making the system be vulnerable for what it was. So the doggy treat at that time was the Civil Rights Act. And then the distraction was the NASA program. So you have the power shifting. So to expand it out as far as possible, that's one way to take the power away. Another way to take the power away is to separate you from your roots, separate you from your culture, separate you from your ancestors, your power, the power that powers your tree of life. And once that's separated, now you have to install another version of distraction or channel that power to something else. This is what happens within the university system. That power gets translated into the idea of logic, which is this colonial version of logic and reason. It's based upon the slave system. So this whole power system is to give you the illusion of freedom, give you the illusion of connection with the whole oneness program, with the new age movement and the feminism movement. And that's basically what this whole video is going to be about, is the emasculization of the men, because the men represent the power essence, the protector energy of the human balances. See, this whole feminism movement and this sexism, and bear with me, like I said in the last video, this is not directed towards any individual. There's no hatred here towards any kind of thought patterns or choices in your life. This video is meant to focus on the energies of the alchemy of the system itself. There is an alchemy to the genetically modified foods. There is an alchemy to the idea of sexism. There's an alchemy to the feminist movement. There's an alchemy to the gay agenda. There's an alchemy to why that the gay rights and all that stuff was passed in the Obama administration. There's an alchemy that exists in all of those spaces and how they exist together in relation to the dumbing down of the power of the people and the soaking of the energy through parasitic programs. And in order to have people give their power away, you have to hit them at every angle. Like I said in previous videos, this is not checkers. This is chess for your soul. When you understand that your legal name in all capital letters makes you a corporation in the Maritime Admiralty system, then you can understand that your soul is being manipulated. Your energy, the energy of who and what you are, not only in the physical reality, but down to your dreams, stealing your dreams. This is what the movies are, the musical vibrations, the food, the American dream itself, genetically modified everything, fluoridating your water, playing with your electrical and electromagnetic frequencies. Every angle is approached. In this video, I want to focus on this feminist and LGBT sort of expansion and acceptance, and the whole gay pride thing, like even that, and Dr. Phil Valentine mentioned this in his video, is another thing. It's like gay pride. Like, why do you have pride? Why would you have pride in something if it's natural for you? Why would you have pride in something that's natural? Like, you didn't do anything. Like, you didn't do that. So, like, I understand people are saying, gay pride in order to make a statement so other people can be comfortable with coming out or doing whatever that is. But you have to understand that this is there's an intention behind that. The gay pride parades and movements and all this other stuff. That's an energy that's being manipulated by the mainstream. It's not on mistake. It's not a mistake that there's estrogen being pumped in to your baby food. It's not a mistake that this stuff is happening. People say that, oh, you're born like this. How can you discern whether you're born a certain way if your hormones are being messed with when you in your baby food? So you won't understand how, what genetics are. And that's it. It's in my genes to be gay or whatever. Like, this is how far this program has gone. And it's manifested all the way up until these bathroom programs and the gender. The list goes on and on. You guys know what I'm talking about. But this video, I wanted to focus on the actual intention. Just show an example of the intention of the power that gets taken away when you throw imbalance into the system and call it normal. This is an example of the differences between what is natural and what is normal. There's a reality that exists in your left and right brain hemisphere. You have the left side of your brain as the what is that? The artistic, or the left brain is the masculine, the linear, the everything. I'll get into that in a second. Then you have the balances of the right brain, which is the feminine. In order to experience that in a manifested physical reality, we have relationships. The relationship to reproduce naturally is to have a man with a woman. And then you can bring another baby into this experience. That is what happens in a normal, balanced reality, relationship, and a natural, balanced relationship. What is normal to this civilization is abnormal to what is natural to the divine essence. Like I said before, this is not any hatred towards any individual or anything. This is not an attack or anything like that. And I'm going to get into that too, because the victimization program is woven into this to victimize. Oh, you're gay bashing and all this other stuff. No, fuck that shit. The feminists can get out there and say all the fuck they want. Where are the masculinists? Where are the masculinists? For example purposes, because the feminists only really exist because this out of balance reality is walking around telling people that their out of balanceness is normal and it should be a part of the system, not even taking into account the fact that they are installing estrogen into your baby food. And what that does, not just to the individual, but to the entire fucking collective. This is about power. This is about the system as a whole. It's not just about the racism and the colonialism and the university system. This is down to your very genetics. This is why I get pissed off so much about the flat earth talk here and there, talking about, oh, we gotta talk about the curve and all this other shit. You only talk about the fucking science of the flat earth and all that other stuff, and you don't talk about the human story, then you're missing the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest fucking point of the whole thing. The system itself. Who installed the globe model? Who installed the idea of a powerless collective? Who installed the ideas of this homosexual the gay agenda? Who installed the ideas, and what is continuing to install these programs that keep people from recognizing and tapping into their maximum potential? It's not just about religion separating you from the spirit. It's not just about the globe model separating you from the collective or the creative intelligence. It's all of these things and how they work together, down to the very essence of the food that you eat, the water that you drink, and the relationship that you have. This whole feminism movement is based upon a broken system. The idea of the patriarchal program, in order to create a divide within the family, a divide within your brain, a divide within your balances, to create imbalanced individuals who will act out an imbalanced revolution, an imbalanced fight of power. If you create weak masses, then you can create a weak revolt. Down to the brain, from the brain down to the body. Weakening the body, weakening the mind, weakening the spirit. When you weaken the family, and you weaken the relationships, and you weaken the willpower, the self-esteem, the understanding of the divine nature that everybody is, and you start to create an idea of normalization, then you are starting to affect the power grid. So just as easily as you can have all these women and every talk about feminism and all that shit, see how you feel right now when I say something about masculinism and speaking about the essence of the masculine. And then the defense mechanism is, well, men rule everything. Women don't have the same equal pay and all this shit, because all of that is in reference to the broken system by design. So you don't understand that it is by design. To beat down the men, the warriors who will fight for the women, who will fight for the children, who will fight for true ma'at, against the injustices, against humanity, against nature. If you soften everything out, that's when you can control the entire collective. The lack of balance and the softening of the warrior spirit against the system is weakening the moral fibers of the collective and dampening out the masculine fire. This whole equality and all this stuff, this is what this is based upon. It's not about the equality. When you water everything down, it's just like this artificial oneness that waters down your culture and your diversity. It waters down the beauty of the mixes that we are naturally in our cultures, in our music. It waters everything down into the mainstream. So just like that waters everything down, the equality movement waters down the essence of the divine balance between masculine and feminine, and the manifestation of that into a woman and a vagina and a man and a penis. And when you water that down, it's the same thing that happens, and call that artificial oneness. We're all equal. It's not that we're unequal. It's that we are equal in our differences. And what are those differences? See, the differences that happen in reference to the equality movement are based upon the broken system. So you are equating yourself to a broken system, to a patriarchal program. So this is why you have the feminism movement is largely based upon the lesbian and the sort of dyke mentality, the women who act like men. That's an out of balance feminism movement on purpose. So you have, this is why I said I use masculinism as an example to bring light to how this design works. Not to bring it out as to create it as we need a masculinism movement. No. We need people to realize the actual natural balances of who the fuck they are. We need to realize how this system, the tentacles of this system, has gotten into the psyches of our children. We need to understand how the psyches of this system has gotten into our soul connections to each other, to nature, and period. If we don't understand that, then we won't be able to tap into our soul fire. So one example of this, and the racism is just another style. It's like another flavor of this this feminist sexism, gay rights, and all this installing of this program into your system movement. So you can understand this, and you can substitute this for what I'm getting ready to read right now for the gay rights and all that other stuff. So it's take them away from their people. Give them a different name. So give them a different identity. This is what the school system pushing the gay agenda and all this other stuff, and putting it on your school, on your television shows and cartoons, all this shit. Punish them. Kill, roast, burn, boil, lynch when they get out of line while their family watch to drive fear. What does that say? While their family want to drive fear in them, and see that their men cannot save them. If you dampen out the fire of the masculine, you will create weak societies. That's the intent here. Then the women turn to the oppressors for safety. So if you have weak ass men, then now the women have to become men, and the women have to become protectors, and the women have to become the providers and the security and all that shit that is natural to our balances. So they run to the system and run to become part of and so-called successful in the system. This is what all this Oprah shit is, and this Beyonce shit is, with all the independent women. Oh, my women, the independent, oh yeah, all that shit. That's what all this shit is about. It's a psychological fucking program to separate you and to install that into your children, and to turn you to the oppressors. So turning you into victims. This is why the gay movement and all this stuff and talking about sexism, it's all about victimization. You can't say a fucking word about it. If you say something about it, you're a gay basher or a homophobe or something like that. They got this arsenal to go against you. This is what this whole system is about. If you're just looking for the balances of nature, something's wrong with you. Fuck that. Separate them from family. Separate them family from family and tribe from tribe, so they don't share memories of who they are. Give them a new religion. Have them believe their God is punishing them while he allows them to suffer. Allow them to gather only to celebrate the oppressor's traditions, not theirs. Show them the images of the oppressors as great, and images of them not that aren't great. So this is why you have all these gods of Egypt that are all Caucasian and all these damn slave movies. So when their children are born, they have no memories of where they came from passed down to them. They have no self-identity, but to adopt the one the oppressors gave their parents and their parents before their parents on the plantation. Tell them they are suffering because they are cursed. Tell them their people are to be blamed that they were stolen from. Tell them that their past is demonic so they don't go back and study their origins. Let's worship their gods and celebrate their traditions such as St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, Ash Wednesday, Passover, and Easter. After all, I don't know what my people are doing before slavery, nor do I care to drop these things that aren't my people's original traditions and find my own people's traditions. It was used to control my people, but it works for me. It allows me to live peacefully while ignoring injustice done to my people, just as it was used to keep my people submissive on the plantation. That's what this whole program is based upon. Submissive. Making you submissive on every level. So if you can't even fucking speak about the actual fire of the masculine design, if you can't even raise your voice to talk about the fire of the essence of the divine masculine and the balances of this entire reality, because the system is designed to make you not become what they are, which is the oppressor. So you even speaking and taking a tone of a certain style makes you an oppressive sort of energy. This is a very complex system that is designed to protect itself within the victimization program, systematically taking your power away on every level and installing a separation. The masculine is a protective and security energy, linear. This is when you see those symbols. There's a meaning to this shit. There's a meaning to the linear and the balances in the duality program. There's a meaning to the relationships and a purpose to why a man, in order to have a baby organically, a man has to have relationships with a woman. That's natural, down from spirit. So this is what it all boils down to. Just as easily as the slavery and the oppressive mind separate you from spirit, and they install that generic ass religion and that bullshit, these bullshit ass holidays and all this stuff, that's to separate you from your spirit. Why the fuck don't people see that the same way to separate people from their spirit is the same thing happening with this whole feminism program and the feminists and all the sexism and all this other stuff? You can't even speak about this shit. Protectors and healers. The language that gets designed, the language that gets pumped out into our reality, our so-called reality, is how we get shut down. When they call one group of people thugs and another group of people Second Amendment, whatever, not the amendment. Yeah, Second Amendment, whatever, gun control, you know what I mean. Getting a brain fart right here because this is not what I wanted to really go into, but it's part of it. I wanted to stay focused on the feminism and sexism part of this, because it's a pain in the ass to even talk about this stuff, because it's so ridiculous to even go into these questions and bring up all this stuff when the social norm is so opposite. It's so fucking opposite. Everything is connected. All of these, anything in the mainstream media is designed to make you feel and act a certain way, to take your power away. These so-called powers that be don't give a shit about anything but themselves. The celebrities don't give one shit about you. The politicians don't give one fucking shit about you. Only themselves. This is why these athletes and these celebrities get paid millions and billions of dollars, so they can keep their fucking mouths shut. And if they need to open them, they will open them only to say what the system tells them to say. This is why you got Leonardo DiCaprio out there talking about global warming and the United Nations, and all these other actors talking about get out there and vote, save the day. What do you care about? Utilizing them to mind control not only the parents, the adults, but these kids. And that's why I get so pissed off and why I'm making this video, and I'll get into that in a second. It's because once you start going after the kids, fuck that. Everybody needs to have a problem with that shit. It's the flipping the roles, flipping the energy, turning men into women and women into men. This is what all this skinny jeans shit is. This is what all this feminizing or the emasculization of even the rap game and all that stuff. These gay rappers and this whole, the gay actors, the underground gay mafia, how it's acted out in the mainstream. This same thing gets tied in with all the gym worshiping. It's a worshiping of the physical reality. And psychologically, you activate that within the broken system, within the broken perspectives. So you have women trying to do their calisthenics and get their bodies to be more accepted in society, to be more like men, and also to be more desired by men who subliminally, subconsciously are being manipulated to be more attracted to that style. Totally flipping upside down and backwards the natural experience. It's sold with emotion. It's sold in reference to the broken system. If the system wasn't designed the way it is, to be acting the way it is, to be making people act the way they do, then you wouldn't need to have women taking up arms and doing what they do to just survive. That wouldn't need to be done. But we get focused, we get this tunnel vision and say and get focused on the emotion, like, yeah, that's women power, that's good strength. We never take into account the system as a whole. That's why this is so focused. That's why you have this feminism movement based upon masculine designs, talking about empowerment, but you're empowering women, you're empowering the feminine in the masculine design. So that's actually disempowering the feminine and making vulnerable and disempowering the masculine at the same time, because now the masculine the masculinized feminine are now challenging the masculine men. And now, to get more attention on the other side, some men are becoming more feminine, and they have that precursor with the estrogen in their baby food and all this other stuff. This is an entire algorithm. It's everywhere. Everywhere you look. The underground gay scene in Hollywood, celebrities, and then you have putting black men in dresses in movies. This is all on purpose. It's not a mistake. This is not just a thing that's happening. I forgot this was in here, but this is just another example of separation. Robert Downey Jr., addicted to drugs for years and in and out of jail, ruined his career, accident, gets clean, and plays a superhero, and becomes one of the most respected and generous men in Hollywood. Meet Robert Downey Jr. If he was black, you think that shit would happen? Not a fucking chance. This is just an example of white privilege. But this is how this system works. Subconsciously, it creates hopeless energy. It's like, well, you can only do that if you're not. If you're a white male. Like that this is how this system is. It's pigeonholing consciousness to act consciously a certain way and react subconsciously another way. So you have this watered down version of feminine strength based upon the patriarchal program talking about equal pay and all this other shit. Everything in this program is based upon the broken system. This shit is garbage. It's a joke to the so-called powers that be to see these clowns running around talking about forward progress and power to the people, empowering women, systematically disempowering men, challenging the family, splitting the family. That's what it boils down to. When you empower the feminine in the masculine style, then you're disempowering the masculine and making them fight. That's the divide and conquer program. This is why you have that independent women and all that other stuff. This is all based upon the fiat currency system and the out of balance nature of our society. And like I said, with this artificial oneness and the New Age movement, which is tied into it, it's just fundamental human rights. We need to have equal rights, equal everything. Equal is a mayonnaise sandwich in understanding what reality is. We are equal in the eye of spirit. But that is just the title of your reality, realizing that there's a balance between the masculine and the feminine to create a baby. There's a balance to create harmonics. And when you realize the differences, the word equal doesn't even matter. The word equal and equal rights and fundamental human rights only matters because this system is so broken that it has created a design that is based upon inequality. But when you reconnect with natural balances, natural harmonics, you'll realize that the word equal, that essence, really only exists on the most generic scene. And then you start tapping into what is natural. What is the intention of having a dick and a vagina? What is the intention of having a left and a right brain? What is the intention of having a man and a woman? What is the intention of having the divine feminine and the divine masculine? What is the intention from spirit? Equality doesn't even fucking equate in that design, because it doesn't matter, because the complexities are so beautiful in the fundamental roots of what the divine feminine is and what the divine masculine is. It completely eradicates the reactionary process of adjusting to a broken system that's based upon not even the understanding of equality or fundamental human rights. But the third level up from that is the actual essence of who and what you are. That's been thrown completely out of balance by your food, by your water, by your so-called entertainment, by your art, by your music, by the movies, by your education system, by these artificial ass intellectualists, or these university systems, and these politicians that tell you what's important, these celebrities that tell you what you should be thinking about. Like I said earlier about how the design is to water everything down with the artificial oneness and the New Age movement. This is how they water it down, by telling like human rights. Aliens are to the artificial oneness and the New Age movement like human rights are to this out of balance feminism, broken society and broken individual program. It's the same thing. It's designed to water everything down. So you're so focused on human rights, you don't realize the essence of, and this is where this split is happening. Like I said in other videos, this is the split between what is normal and what is natural, what is synthetic and what is organic. This transhumanism program, the monkey mind evolution program, this is the only way this out of balance reality can be installed into the masses. This is the only way you can have your consciousness be watered down to a generic version of interaction in reality, to make you go extinct. Because if you are a human essence and you're running a monkey mind program, you never really existed in the first fucking place. You're already extinct. It just hasn't manifested into physical reality, just as easily as a thought pattern adds to a disease that will later manifest into a cancer into your body over time. These are what these thought patterns are. They're creating disease in your consciousness, in your divine essence, that will manifest into the physical reality at a later date, individually and collectively. And when it does manifest, it will manifest as a powerless energy, so that you may be enslaved by the system. And in order to protect itself, it creates the victimization program to demonize anything that talks in reference, even in reference to it. You won't fight back. Hold hands, not guns. That's the design of this system. Don't challenge the system. Don't challenge what is normal and accepted. Just accept it and move on. Fuck that. People are getting back to what is natural and understanding how deep this fucking program goes. Think it's a mistake that you have Hillary Clinton out there? It's just a coincidence that you have the first woman president and all this feminism and sexism talk, the women Ghostbusters. The list goes on and on with this. But her resume is a testament to this program as a whole. She's a perfect example of this program, just a robot in a feminine suit, lying to everybody's faces, being sold to the masses only because there's a piece of shit standing next to her who's her actual friend, so she can just walk right in there and then can further sell the disempowerment program. So all these abortion laws, this is how we get sold into it. All these, you get sold by your emotions. And it's all based upon, like I said, it's based upon the power. They got the power to tell you what you can and can't do. They got the power to make laws for your body, for your society, without you even being engaged. You can already see this with George Bush in Florida and taking out Kennedy, 9/11. The list goes on, and how your vote does not fucking matter. It does not matter at all. Period. It doesn't. You are just supposed to act the way they tell you to act. Because when you get out on the streets and start doing all this stuff, in reaction, you're actually empowering the system instead of challenging the system. You're still asking the system, like Black Lives Matter. Matters to who? The power system. There's a difference between that instead of empowering yourself and understanding that you are already kings and queens. You are already connected and a manifestation of your ancestors. You are already that energy. But when you water it down, that's exactly what the system wants, to give the power away to the system. And then when they, of course, I'm even me talking about this image right here. Is, oh, what are you against people who are talking about, like, no, I'm not fucking against that. What I'm saying is that there's a bigger fucking picture to it. There's more you can talk about. So when I speak about this, it's like this image. Like, this is an empowering image to little girls and women. Girls can't be leaders, except we are. Like, I'm not going down on that. What I'm saying is there's an intention to this design. This is based upon the equality deception. That's a layer of consciousness. Equality is a layer of consciousness that is in reference to the synthetic version of reality. And that's not being said to say that we are not equal. What I'm saying is that our level of consciousness and our essence at its roots completely encompasses that mentality and exist on a higher vibration when you take into account the divine essence of the masculine and the feminine, that design. So this whole leaders, like this image right here, girls can't be leaders, except we are. Nobel Peace Prize winner, and this whole thing, I'm not coming down on her or anybody who thinks like this or that whole essence right there. What I'm saying is that this is why I use this image, is to share an example of how this program gets manipulated, and how you can't even say anything about it because it exists within a level of consciousness that is not, it's not normal. But I'm not talking about what's normal. I'm talking about what's fucking natural. It's not natural for women to have to act like men in order to be the protectors, and be defending their essence and that whole nature. That takes the woman out of the divine feminine essence and installs this synthetic version of reality, because the synthetic reality is telling her that's what you need to do, because your men ain't gonna fucking do it because they're all turned into fucking women. It's like, what are you against? You're against women power? Shut the fuck up with all that shit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to expand your fucking mind and see that it's bigger than that. So when you get Hermione Granger going to the United Nations talking about he for she, and they get these kids, these youth speakers, to go talk about this women's solidarity movement for gender equality. Anything mainstream is not for your benefit. That's a fucking Punch and Judy show. It's a movie. For you to act a certain way, for you to think a certain way, for you to raise your children a certain way. Not in My Name. The Not in My Name campaign is an anti-female genital mutilation campaign demanding an end to female genital mutilation in Sierra Leone. Why the fuck does that even exist? Why is that happening? So instead of addressing why female genital mutilation exists, the feminism movement just creates a fucking talking point and a movement within the system just to fucking raise awareness. That's as far as it goes. Raise awareness to how you're being your genitals are being fucking mutilated. No. Do something about it. Figure out how to do it. And that's what the masculine design is. That's what the linear program is. That's what the masculine fire is. The masculine fire does shit. The feminine energy in a masculine program wants to create these fucking campaigns to talk about this shit. No, the masculine fire will do something about this shit. And that's why it's being dampened out. That's why this feminism campaign moves, because they want the women to be leaders, because that's how it's going to be approached. It's going to be approached in an outside version, softer version. No, the men will go in and shut this shit down, but you won't have men go in there and shut this shit down if they're all acting like women, or if they're all fucking weak. This is why this system is designed the way it is. Fighting for women. Just like Obama was in there to shut up the so-called African American community, the Aboriginal Americans, that essence, the people that were just like, fucking George Bush was in here for 8 years. We already know he did. They already did 9/11. They don't give a fuck about you, especially the so-called minorities. They don't give one oh, now we got a black president. Hey, good job. Congratulations. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, just shut the fuck. That's what that was. Shut up for 8 years. Now, that was the distraction. Now, the next distraction is fucking Hillary Clinton. Why? Because now it's time for so-called women to get rights. Because now the illusory rights. Within the illusory power system. They only have power within this fiat currency, maritime admiralty, pirate fucking system. It's an illusion. It's an okie doke. to quiet everybody down. So now when they had Obama in there, he quieted down the fire of the so-called minority. Now they fire up all the women. Now they're going to quiet down the women with Hillary Clinton. It's already happening. Even if she doesn't get put in there, that fire will still get put up. Because now, I mean, the systems are already running. But it makes sense to me that they would put her in there right after Obama to shut down that energy. First, you shut down the system that could break the system, which is the so-called minorities, the black community, so-called black community, the Aboriginal Americans, to challenge the system. Then you distract with this artificial oneness and this artificial equality bullshit based upon this broken system. And this is where I have the biggest fucking problem, is where they start putting this stuff in the schools, calling it comprehensive sexuality education plus gender equality equals prevents sexual and gender-based violence. Doesn't take into account the system at all, the society at all as a whole. Focuses everything on the individual. Focuses everything on the family, the culture, your mind. Not knowing that your mind, your electrical signals are being fucked with the food that you're eating and the water that you're drinking and the social media and the movies that you're watching and the music that you're listening to and these celebrities that your children are worshiping. So since they see a problem, they provide an answer, and the answer is to install a bigger problem that you won't see as a disguised as something, as forward progress, as movement, as equality, but you won't see how fucked up this is until years later, just like the civil rights movement. You won't see how it was nothing until years later. And then you're surrounded by these celebrities. You're surrounded by this happy-go-lucky program which sells it to you and makes you happy. Things are changing. Oh, Ellen has her own television show. She's gay. Good job, Ellen. There's an intention there. Then you get these celebrities who are on the under, selling this shit to your kids subliminally. Making it so you can't say anything. Like if anybody says anything against Ellen, you're automatically the bad guy. Dory, come on. You don't like Finding Dory? You don't like Finding Nemo? You don't like Ellen? She's so likable. That's the victimization program. I'm not talking about her personally or anything like that. I'm talking about what she fucking represents. What the utilization of her represents. You can't even talk about anything around that. Why? Because you're a misogynist or something like that. Fuck all this shit. Fuck all your labels. I don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. This is just speaking what the fuck exists right now. These celebrities don't give one shit about you. These talk show hosts are designed for it. They're coming at your babies. They're coming for your babies. And they're being served up on a fucking platter with this education system and this gender equality and this feminism, sexism, this movement. It's making women act like men and calling that equality because the system has been not equal for so long. not realizing that that's in itself is a fucking box and a trap, because the true essence exists outside of the the definition of equality into the understanding of nature, natural harmonics, and balance. This is an imbalance being celebrated as equality. This is why you have angry women, angry single mothers and women all the time, because they're heavily activated in the masculine program and how they should exist in the world, judging the men a certain way. And also the men are fucking women these days. They have no masculine qualities. That's on purpose. That's design. You can obviously see from the genetically modified installing estrogen into the soy, into baby food. There's an intention with all this shit. Then you get these so-called masculine figures having a tattoo and wearing all kinds of chains and rapping about killing people and all this other shit. That don't make you a fucking man. Makes you a fucking puppet for a system. They're all in cahoots. This is a design. Storytelling. Telling you we're all the same. It's just black and white. We're all equal. Equal how? Oh, we should get equal pay. We should get equal this. It's all equal in reference to the diseased society. It never goes into nature. This is that post-Columbian essence. That post-Columbian psychological program. It's time that we all see gender as a spectrum instead of two sets of opposing ideals. Yo, fucking break. Shit is ridiculous. They had Hermione Granger's fucking ass in the United Nations talking about this shit. The United Nations is the next agenda. This new world, new age agenda shit. Oneness and equality. Like, who's going to go against that? Who's going to say anything against oneness and equality? What's wrong with you? You must be some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist or something. Man, get the fuck out of my face with that shit. That's how they're going to sell it to you. Oh, now we all have equal pay. Nope. You don't have equal shit. You have an imbalance. You have a separation. We're vegan. We eat soy every day. Alright. This is where I have a problem with it now. Even more so. Is when they start putting it in the education system. Homophobia has a cure. It's education. Excuse me. So now, since you think or talk a certain way, you have a problem. You need to be educated. So if adults have this problem, then obviously the kids need to have this problem addressed before it manifests into, in the future, into gay bashing and all this other stuff. So what do? They put it in the schools. Everybody's equal. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's this version of reality. Everybody's all the same. Everything that's normal is natural. Really? Is this natural? Is putting estrogen? Is giving babies 9 birth control pills a day when you include the plastic birth control pills a day to your baby? Is that natural? It sure as hell ain't normal or fucking natural. You don't think that affects this? These are the layers within the layers, within the boxes that work to take away the power as a whole. These are just examples. I've already pretty much addressed all this stuff before these images came up, but this is what all this bathroom talk is. And you can't say anything. You can't say anything like about this. Something's wrong with you if you don't talk about inclusiveness. If you talk against equality. No, I'm not. That's how it gets approached too. It's like you're talking against equality. You're talking against inclusiveness. You're talking against oneness. What's wrong with you? Are you not part of the new age? You must be part of the old age. You must be part of the old patriarchal program of the misogyny and the old like where men want to be in charge of everything. Shut that shit up. That is the movie reel being played for you to fall into. I'm talking about the natural balances of the soul essence, the spirit. They are coming after your kids. It's in the cartoons. It's in your TV shows. It's in your music. It's even in your fucking food. It's in the movies. It's in your politics. It's in your schools now. They have actual gender equality sex education classes now in the public education system. This is the intention of the public education system, to dumb down and install programs into future generations, to separate them, to take their power away before they even grow up to the age of having the power to challenge the system. When the civil rights came, everybody thought everything was kosher, everything is cool, everything is good, so you don't have to fight the system anymore. When Obama came in after Bush, everybody thought everything was cool, everything is good, everything is like great now. Well, now that we had a black president, things are changing, so you don't have to fight. That's how this power gets locked down. This is how they're selling it now. You see, kids, you can be and do anything. You can any kind of sex you can be and do any kind of sex you feel. And never say otherwise. That's called hate. They sell it to you like that. Oh, you're a gay basher. You're hating. No. There's an intention to this shit. This gay pride and all that other stuff. You didn't accomplish anything and do anything. Like, what the fuck you... It's ridiculous. But beyond that, it's the intention that's behind that shit. They're putting it in your schools. They're installing a disempowered, out of balance system into your children. The actual balances of the divine feminine, the yin and the yang, excuse me, are being messed with on every layer. In a balanced society, you wouldn't need to have women to be strong like men, because they're strong in their own way. They're strong in their intuition. They're strong in their vision, in their imagination, in the emotion, in the holistic. Strong in the senses. The masculine is strong in the logical. And this is what I'm saying. It's not saying that women are not logical. What I'm saying is that there's a design that we all have. that goes down to the very natures of your reproductive reality, your spirit, your soul, your essence. The alien agenda is part of this to make it seem like, oh, everybody's just asexual. Everybody is divine masculine and divine feminine, and then if you're in a woman body and you want to be a man, that's just because you're balanced. No. It's not what that is. That's part of that artificial oneness, that watering down, that mayonnaise sandwich reality. It's not going into understanding why this harmonic exists. Why you have a penis and a vagina. Why? They want to use the exceptions to the rules as the example for reality. That is not it. The reality is the harmonics sent down from your spirit, manifesting into your soul, into your physical reality experience. That's first and foremost. Not adjusting to an imbalanced and broken society. The feminine energy of the intuition, nurturing, healing, calm, emotional awareness, expression, and communication of emotions is manifested into the woman. Yes, men have intuition and nurturing and healing and calm and all that other stuff, but there's a purpose and a meaning why in this reality, in this physical reality. Why? There's a balance, there's a harmonics to why. And why they don't intermingle to the extreme events of what you are seeing on television every day and what's being sold into your kids in the public education system. The masculine energy of logic manipulated by the university system and these egoic dipshits like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, and these feminine ass scientists on the Big Bang TV show. This is another way they lock down the masculine energy to divert that energy and that focus into something else, to some skinny jeans. Reason, energy of action, firm, ease of acquiring material needs, survival, common sense. There's a reason why, and they're not comparable. Like that, when you look at this, it's not like it's not comparison or one has more than the other. It's the overall essence of the energy. To where if you just say we're all equal, it just fucking takes away to your divine essence. It's a mayonnaise sandwich. Each person seek to balance the two energies within them.